The United States has announced a fresh wave of tariffs on 60 trading partners effective from Friday as President Donald Trump moves to rebuild his trade barriers after a legal setback earlier this year.
Well, the new duties range between 10% and 12.5%, with Washington saying the measures are aimed at pressuring countries to strengthen action against forced labor. The United States will impose new tariffs on 60 trading partners from Friday, replacing a temporary global duty that expires in the same day. The new levies range from 10% to 12.5%.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said the U.S. has enforced a forced labor import ban for nearly a century and that its trading partners should do the same. He said the targeted economies account for the majority of U.S. trade.
Now, the new duties come after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down several of President Trump's earlier tariffs in February. The administration had temporarily reimposed a 10% global duty using different legal authority, but that measure expires on Friday. The latest tariffs follow the months-long investigation under Section 301 of the Trades Act of 1974 and are expected to be more resilient against legal challenges.
Countries that have implemented or pledged to implement forced labor import bans will face the lower 10% tariff. They include Canada, India, the European Union, and the United Kingdom. China, Japan, South Korea, and dozens of other economies will face the higher 12.5% rate. However, the European Union, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, and Switzerland will receive limited relief under existing trade agreements with Washington. Goods already subject to sector-specific tariffs, including steel and aluminum, will not be affected. Certain energy products, fertilizers, and goods covered under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement are also exempt.
Now, Washington is also investigating 16 economies over alleged excess industrial capacity. Now, the probes could lead to additional country-specific tariffs in the future. Trade experts say the latest move allows the Trump administration to maintain negotiating leverage while making its tariffs more legally durable. Analysts say the strategy could keep the duties in place for the remainder of Trump's term.
Separately, the U.S. has already imposed a 25% tariff on selected Brazilian goods, citing unfair trade practices. Washington has also announced a 50% tariff on many Canadian products set to take effect next month. These measures have raised concerns that trade disputes with key partners could intensify in the months ahead.
Now, Trump has also unveiled a future plan to impose tariffs on imported generic medicines. Their proposal keeps the tariff at 0% until August 2026 to give drug makers time to shift production to the United States. Now, the rate would then rise to 100% from August 2028, before increasing to 200% in 2029.
WION correspondent Susan Terani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
The Trump administration has announced sweeping new trade measures targeting imports from dozens of countries over concerns that they are failing to prevent goods made with forced labor from entering global supply chains. Acting under Section 301 of the Trade Act, the U.S. says that the new tariffs are aimed at pressuring governments to strengthen labor protection and crack down on forced labor. Supporters argue that the move promotes fair competition and human rights, while critics warn that it could raise costs for businesses and consumers and further strain on trade ties with key partners, prompting retaliatory measures from affected countries. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.